Hello, oh dear ones. Welcome to my Creators of the Future workshop, which is a 52-week workshop on YouTube. And today is special because I have with me a live audience. So welcome everybody. It's amazing to be speaking to people, looking into their eyes, then just looking into the lens and talking to an imaginary audience. I'm very, very excited. In fact, doing all of these videos, all this while, I have been telling people to up their game. By the way, if you are new to the Creators of the Future workshop, if you have just bumped into the video, let me tell you, Creators of the Future workshop is a 52-week program where I help you week by week to stay on track of your goals, so you're not alone in your struggles, you're not alone in your worries, and you're not alone in your doubts. And when there are delays, you know that there is one person who's going to be there every Friday helping you, and that is me. And that is what the 52-week workshop is about. So and incidentally, all the people who have come in as a live audience are not a part of the Creators of the Future workshop, so it was important to tell you. And we are on week 39 today. You see, sometimes when you are moving on track of your goals, when you want to achieve, you want to do well, but things are not going your way, like there are failures and there are setbacks, then who do you go to? And sometimes people take pleasure in telling you, bola tha na nahi chalega, or bola tha aisa mat karna, or don't dream so big, or don't aim so high. There are enough people who will try to steal that enthusiasm from you, and therefore this program is a support system and a tracking system where you come here, land up every Friday, and I tell you it's all right. I give you a new message, a new insight, which will help you stay tuned and stay focused. And oh boy, we are on week 39, which means 13 weeks have already gone by. And if you see my style, the videos are varied. Like some videos are very strategic with a direct address to your goals. Some videos will give you assignments, some will give you to-dos, and some are random, where the topics are important. They could be general, they are not very specific, but they are important, like on softer skills that could help you develop a better attitude or a better perspective towards your goal. So it's not that every time there's a specific strategy or a specific assignment, but you take the message and you apply it to your life. And I like the format to be random. Randomity is my greatest strength. I feel patterns are good, but it's not my style. I run away from routine. In fact, if I'm not working on a deadline, I can't work on a routine and a pattern. For instance, when I'm writing my book, then of course, I'm working on a format, I'm working on a routine, I'm working on a pattern. If I'm working out, then that kind of discipline is needed. But otherwise, if I'm doing a project which allows me the liberty, I love randomity. And you see, routine is what everybody wants to break out of, so this message, actually this video is dedicated to Preeti Singh, who said, that sometimes your video is not a direct address to the goals or to the creators of the future as a subject. It's a little random, and therefore I want to say that randomity is good where it allows you the muscle to see how does this fit in my agenda. Randomity is good if you're learning from it and if you're growing from it. But if random stuff is creating chaos and confusion in your life, then that is what you want to stay away from. But the reason that I am doing this video and the message that I want to give you today is that even though things seem random, there is a pattern in it, and it takes a genius to spot the pattern in randomity. Because I will tell you this, and you've heard this umpteen number of times, that everything adds up. Everything that happens to you on a daily basis makes sense. And in fact, today where you are, if you look back on your lives, there is a hindsight that can provide a learning for you, that where you have reached and the things and circumstances that have happened in your life, you can actually connect the dots, and you will see a perfect alignment that you needed to hear that day when you heard it, you needed to meet that person that day when you met him, that you needed a kick that day when you got it, because when you connect the dots, it brings you exactly where you are, the place that you wanted to be. See, the people that you meet are not coincidental. Every single person you meet is going to have an impact on your life. What you eat has an impact on your life, right? The books that you read have an impact on your life. The messages you get, the messages that you send, they all hold in them an abundance of opportunity if you can see. So I'm going to explain to you with an example. I like to have a board better, so I think better. Now look, every morning that I wake up, and by the way, everything that I tell you on the Friday videos, I do it myself. There's nothing that I have told you to do which I have not done, you know, so I can tell you by personal experience that it works. So every morning I write my goals, from short-term goals to long-term goals. It's written in my handwriting in my notebook. So I have a goals book. So I will write the date, and I will write my short-term goals, and I will write my long-term goals, and sometimes I will write it 7 times, you know, so it's in my memory. Now very recently I lost that notebook, and I was really upset. I hunted the whole house, I could not find my notebook, and my mother asked me, you know, what was written in it, that because I was visibly upset. So I told her, every day I write my goals in it, you know. So she's like, but it's the same thing you're writing every day, right? I said, yes. So she's like, then why are you upset? Because you know what you've written. But you see, it's not writing the same goals every time. Even though it's the same goal, today is a new emotion. Have you ever felt that? Yeah, yesterday you wrote that I want to write a book that sells 4 lakh copies, and that day perhaps you wrote it in doubt. You know, okay, it's just a goal, hoga ki nahi hoga. Then a week later, there was a little certainty in writing that goal. Then 2 months later, there was this passion and fire and commitment when you were writing that. It was not just a goal. So when I told my mom, she's like, you know, who would have thought of that? I said, a person who wrote it knows that. You don't have to think about it. So while you may sit there and say, hey, it's the same goal, why should I write it every day? Excuse me, write it every day, and you will guard that notebook with your life now that you know I lost mine. Yeah, so that's the value that it has. So here's the thing. Okay, if you want to decode what random means, see, you can live your life in very high randomity. Why is this happening? Why is she telling me this? Why did that happen? Why did he tell me that? That is one way to live life, or you can live your life in perfect alignment. Now let me give you an example, and I'm going to give you this as an exercise to do. So I have a live audience who are going to do this as we speak. Like I tell you to write in the comments, they're actually going to do this live. So look, in the center you have your goals. Okay, I would suggest write it every day, because when your goals are in your consciousness, when your goals are ahead in your vision, then everything makes sense, everything adds up. There are no longer any coincidences. So I'm going to give you an example. My goals are clear. Let me give you, for instance, I want my 9th book, The Wise Man Said. It's an amazing book, by the way, to sell, let's say, 400,000 copies this year. It's my goal, all right? Now, whatever happens in the day, I'm going to demonstrate to you is in perfect alignment. Let me give you an example. My day yesterday, okay, let me decode that day for you so you very clearly understand what randomity means. So I met my niece at Starbucks, okay, and we were sitting and having coffee, and suddenly she tells me, Priya, let's do, I want to do Facebook My Story with you. And I said, huh? When did Facebook had my story? I don't even go on my personal account. I'm so busy posting on my page. And she did a Facebook My Story. She and I learned something new. Now look, I met my niece who taught me, or she didn't teach me, she just told me about a Facebook My Story. Now look, that gave me, I'm going to use different pens, I like it. She gave me an idea that I could use for my goal, right? Else it could just be a very random meeting. Now this idea actually added a little more sparks to my goal. Who knows that 10 copies sold here is because I did a Facebook My Story every day. Could it be? Yes. Absolutely. All right, let me give you another example. So I come home. Now somebody in my building passed away. I didn't even know about it. Okay, so when I went home, the watchman called me and said, Didi, wo body ko leke ja rahe hain, aap niche aa jaiye. First of all, I didn't know somebody had passed away. The watchman called me and said, can you please come down, because the the parting ceremony is going on. Now look, that watchman who made that call to me to tell me, please come down, and this is happening. He is an embodiment of compassion and humanity. Would you agree? Absolutely. Now, this is a lesson which was not on top of my list yesterday. It was not a part of my agenda to revisit my sense of compassion and humanity. Of course, it is there, but we all need reminders, right? And you know, everybody in the building said, oh, this watchman is such a sensitively great human being that he called the entire building. He made the phone calls. And when I said him, I told him, you know, we call him Sagar Bhai. I said, that was so sweet that you did. He said, अच्छा लगता है जब बुरे वक्त में लोग साथ होते हैं. Now, it took that sensibility. Now, do you think with this kind of sensibility, I would be a better person to promote this goal? Yes, it gives me a stronger pillar, a stronger foundation. And I will also tell you, after I went to work, I met this colleague of mine, okay? And he said, so what's new? You asked me what's new, I got 10 more things to tell you. So when people ask me what's new, I ask them, how much time have you got? So he asked me, what's new? I said, my new book, 9th book. So he said, what's your vision? What's your target? You keep telling people to up their target. What's yours? So I told him, my target is 4 lakh copies sold this year. Now that guy starts to give me some numbers of this really famous author who failed to sell 4 lakh copies, okay? And he said, who's publishing your book? I said, I started my own publishing house. Then his face grew a little more, you know, wicked, and said, really? Your first book, actually it's my second book with my publishing house, is going to sell 4 lakh copies? See, he was only just throwing things at me. And I have learned one thing, never argue with people who challenge you negatively. Just don't argue. I don't have to explain to him. Anyways, I changed the topic. Now tell me, did I feel bad? Yeah, did I feel discouraged? Did I want to write him off my list and say don't meet him for 6 months? Yes, but that colleague, the third guy, the third instance that happened to me yesterday, you know what he did? Because the fact that he said that that famous author didn't do it, matlab what he didn't say was फिर आप कौन है करने के लिए? Yeah, but it brought me greater strength and greater commitment that I was at work till 2 a.m. making strategies, because now I'm concerned. So I made a strategy on how to achieve 4 lakhs. You know what I did then? I saw his face in front of me saying, ये तो सब करते हैं, उसने भी ऐसा ही किया था, and that's why he failed. Then I crossed that strategy and I wrote a second strategy. Then I said, what if that fails? Then I crossed that and I wrote a third strategy. That what if that fails? You know how many strategies I wrote last night? 7. And I put a cross on all of them, that what if they fail? At least I will do 7 times the effort. The guy failed with 1 strategy, perhaps I have 7 ready and I'm willing to fail on all. Uske baad bhi fail ho gaye, then I'll never meet him again. Yeah, because he's definitely going to ask me kitni biki copies. Yeah, so please buy some. I don't want to fail at it. But look, meeting him, even though it was a solid discouragement, not just to me but to others as well, did it add some strength and some commitment to my goal? Yes. Absolutely yes. Okay, then I met this amazing guy. Don't look at me like that, not that kind of guy. Yeah, I met this amazing guy, as in a very nice person, very talented person. Look at the way y'all are smiling. Yeah, when I meet that kind of guy, I will tell you. And wherever that kind of guy is, please tell me also. So anyways, I met this amazing guy, very talented, has very good statistics, has been in the book business for such a long time. And while I was talking to him, at the back of my head, I was like, I need to hire him. You know, I need to get him on board for my publishing house. And while I was just about to tell him that, you know, hey, I'd like to hire you to head my company, I thought, we've just started. We've just barely moved into an office. I also don't have greater order in what is going to happen into the future. So why shall I tell him and waste his time? You get it? See, a person of that stature also needs an organization of that stature. He also needs a vision of that stature. Would you agree? Yeah, so I said, hey Priya, you met this really, really nice, talented fellow, okay? Nice guy, talented fellow, but are you prepared? Do you have the foundation to bring him on board? And I said, I got to put greater order in my organization. Now tell me, did meeting him add more fuel and power and purpose to my goal? Yes. Now look, even if I never hire him, let's say one day when I do this in my organization very soon and I go to him, could it be he says, I don't want your job? Could it be? Yes. Yeah. Could it be he doesn't want to leave his job? Could it be he moves to another country? But so what? Meeting him helped my goal, that I know that when I'm ready for this, I can get any talent that I so wish. Correct? How can this be so random? Now look, you guys are here. Yeah, now look, there were two ways to do this. I just put a tweet, 2 tweets actually I put on Twitter that I'm doing a shoot, and I said, all right, let me also have people, even if like 1 or 2 show up. How does it matter? Now tell me, if I were to do this shoot alone and I do this shoot with an audience, where would I work harder? You tell me. With the audience, right? So the fact that you responded, that's number 5, the fact that you responded, you upped my game, you upped my commitment. How is that random? It connects absolutely to my goal. It makes my goal bigger, it makes it brighter, it makes it better. And then at the end of the day, you know, my mother sprained her foot and she was very upset because she couldn't walk. So she was sitting in her bedroom all evening. So when I came back from work, you know, she was awake. My mother is awake at 2 a.m. I was surprised. How are you awake at 2 a.m.? She said, my foot is hurting. So while I was sitting with her, you know, I said, can I just work here? You're awake anyways. So I was working. My mother has 3 sisters and she was the only one who actually went to work. And she says, you know, Priya, when I was younger, I used to work and your Nanaji, he would come at the train station to receive me with a bottle of water, with tea and with some food that, you know, beti ko bhook lagi hogi, and he would feed me on the way back, and in the night when I would go to sleep, he would press my feet and say, you work so hard. And she says, you know, can I press your feet? Oh my God, I think it was the most emotional moment for my life. My mom is telling me, and she built this beautiful story, and it reminded me that if you have your parents with you, connected with you, rooting for you, who remember their parents, how they were supportive or sometimes even not supportive, that I know of parents who said, look, I never had these facilities, but I want to do this for you. How big a blessing is it that when you come back home, my mother's foot was sprained, and because of that, it brought so much love, so much gratitude into my goal. I will never forget this. Now you tell me, how is this day random? How is anybody I met, or anybody who said a sentence to me or a word to me, or where I met, how is that random? In fact, at the end of the day, I should go back and thank all of these people for making my goal bigger and brighter. Would you agree? Yeah? Now look at this. The beauty of it is, if I take this goal out of the picture, now nothing makes sense. Now nothing at all makes sense, and it's all random and it's all chaotic, and I'm wondering, isse acha to isse milte hi nahi, isse aage se kabhi milna hi nahi, or I would have argued with him, or my life would have taken a very severely ordinary turn. Now what kind of life are you guys living? Random? Really? Do you think all this is disconnected? I would say it is perfectly orchestrated, perfectly in alignment with where you're going to go. You know, when I sell 4 lakh copies, who am I going to call first? This guy. I'm not going to speak to him until then. Yeah, it is then when I'm going to call him and say, oh, by the way, you remember, you know, we did this. Now that I'm saying it on YouTube and on this video, I better do it. So you're getting the message, right, directly. Please buy. Now double the copies you had already thought that you would buy. So do the math. You know, connect the dots, decipher the pattern. Like I said, a genius is who sees patterns in the chaos. Can you be that genius? Look, the entire universe, everything is orchestrated to your command. I am here because somewhere you wanted me to be here. You are here because somewhere I wanted you to be here. It's not coincidence. We are not randomly connected, either live here or even on YouTube. So, and I cannot even tell you what are you waiting for. I can't even say that, because if you see this, you're already on the bus. You're already on the move. But the thing is, if you can see the pattern, means you have some goals aligned. Else you are lost, and forget you finding anything, they are desperately finding you. They are desperately coming in your way. But if you're so lost without a goal, you can't see and recognize, and you dishonor all of these people, all of these situations and circumstances that came your way to help you. Sometimes you need a push, right? Sometimes you need a pull, sometimes you need a pat, sometimes you need a kick. All of it is there on a daily basis. So what I'm going to ask you to do now, because I have you here in front of my eyes, I'm not going to get you to comment, but I'm going to get you to do this right now, is this. And for those of you who are watching the video, you will do this in the comments or do it whenever you feel like. First, you will write your goal. What is your goal? Long term and short term. So you have this large paper, right? Yeah, we've given you these large papers, so draw it, and we have this packet of sketch pens. So draw in the center a circle and write your goals. Now here is my challenge for you to rise to a genius level, that in today, okay, it's what time is it right now? 5:15. 5:20, I was right. It's 5:20. Write down at least 5 situations that happened, or 5 people that you met, or 5 things that aligned for you, whether you liked them or not, and what was the lesson there, and how does it empower your goal. Can you decode that today? Can you decode that now? And you're going to do that, and I'm going to ask you on video to tell me how that went. So when you do this, when you, like you have done, tell me, do you feel a little more powerful? Do you feel a little more certain? Do you feel a little more grateful? Do you feel a little more confidence toward your goal? And imagine if you can decode this on a daily basis, you would become an unstoppable force. And let me tell you another exciting thing. And let me also tell you, my 9th book, The Wise Man Said, is due for release. It's not out yet, but it's up for pre-order. You know, the same book we were talking about for the 4 lakh copies. You all are getting the message, right? It's up for pre-order, and I'm putting the link in the description. It's a great book. It's a book about an 80-year-old billionaire who's made a lot of money, but on a mountain of sacrifices and regret. And at the age of about 70 odd, he says, hey, I've done everything that money could buy, and now I'm going to go out and gather some experiences. So he travels the globe with no money and no identity, only gathering experiences and stories. It's a great book. It's a collection of 12 stories. You don't like it, I will give you double the money back. You know, and if you have liked any of my books, you're going to love this one. So I'm going to put the link of the pre-order here below. And look, the fact that I'm telling you about this book cannot be a coincidence. Yeah, somewhere this message is also aligned with your goals. Hey, don't laugh so wickedly, all right? There is an alignment. You will figure this when you connect the dots 5 years from now, or 2 years from now, or whatever that time is. One day you'll say, I saw Priya on the video. She told me to pre-order this book, and I did. I don't want you to be the ones who say, oh, she told me to pre-order the book and I didn't. Yeah, that doesn't add up. Yeah, so do buy the book. The pre-order link is in the description below. And until next week, I will be back maybe with another YouTube video with a live audience. So thank you.